Okay.
Do you not want me to mention names if I know the names?
You mean like names of flight attendants? Definitely mention names if you have them. And then if you want to...
But what if I'm wrong? I'll just not, okay.
It's up to you. Yeah, totally.
Okay.
If you want to look at the camera or me, it's up to you, whatever makes
What do you prefer?
Just forget the camera scene. We can just talk to them.
Okay.
Whatever you're comfortable
Sure.
with. All right, so we'll start with, tell us your favorite Alaska Airlines experience.
I think my favorite experience actually was not on the plane, believe it or not. It was waiting to board, and one of the flight attendants came up and started talking to me and another passenger that they recognized from the inbound flight from a few days before. And it made me feel special. It made me feel as if they understood what I was doing, that, you know, they expected me to be there. They were happy to see me. And it just made it feel like I was part of this trip, and that they knew that I was part of the trip. And I don't know, it felt really good all over.
Awesome. Okay, so why do you prefer Alaska Airlines?
I feel like it's a great value and experience for what you get, and I've been raised in the Northwest, so I have a real loyalty to the kind of the Northwest vibe and the Northwest origins of the organization, and since I've been using it now quite a bit for the last few years, I just, you know, every time I have to use another airline, something bad happens, and so I really have become loyal to Alaska.
How important are flight attendants to your experience with Alaska?
I would say it's the number one thing that affects a flight, even more so than getting an upgrade. And that's because once I got to a point where I flew enough, you could really tell the difference in service. And so when people are on their game and really know what's kind of what the tempo is of service, checking in with people, being respectful, responsive, but still firm, depending on what's going on with the other passengers, you can really tell. And when they're off, you know, you realize, oh gosh, I'm not getting the service I usually do. So, and for whatever reason that feels, depending on the mood I'm in, really can change how I experience that flight, whether it was a good flight or a bad flight. And it lets you overlook things that are outside of their control, like mechanical failures and delays and weather and all those things.
That's good. What can Alaska Airlines do to become the best West Coast airline?
Well, I think they already are, but I think doing more of what they're already doing is probably the way to go. I've seen some of the changes with the integration of Virgin, and I think those are going in a good direction. I do think that consistency is really, really important. I recently traveled with my family, and it was interesting because the way the flight attendants dealt with the little ones was pretty different. I mean, one attendant was very much helpful when I needed help and understood like what was going on with the three little ones, and then the other one was really, you know, I was asking for help and they just were kind of like, oh, I'm sure you can handle it, you know, and it was not. It wasn't cool. So I think making sure that people are consistently delivering the kind of service that Alaska aspires to is really key.
Okay. Did I ask you what do we do differently that other airlines don't do?
You haven't. I actually now try to travel exclusively on Alaska, so it's hard for me to judge other airlines because I've just kind of given up on them every time I mean, I will internationally, but not so much domestically unless I really, really have to. You know, I almost felt like I was punished for flying on Delta because that was the last airline I flew other than Alaska, and they ended up losing our luggage. So, you know, certainly don't lose luggage. That's
There we go. Perfect. Is there anything that you think Alaska can improve on?
so I think the consistency and the integration is still something that, you know, it has some kinks. I've seen some seating issues recently where people just weren't communicated to in a timely manner, and so that created upset or confusion. And I think one of the things about travel is the more people are able to plan and understand what's going to happen, the more they feel at ease with kind of just the uncomfortable nature of having to travel. So making sure that those kinks are worked out are really key. And then, you know, with the news recently about the incident, with the seating incident, and at first when I read about that, I have to say, I thought, oh gosh, was that on that flight? Because there was a seating incident on a recent flight, but it was something completely different. I think making sure that people don't make assumptions about travelers, because so often it's really, you know, you can be good-natured and just make the wrong assumption, and it can really cause problems. But I really like the way Alaska messaged the response. I thought it was spot on.
Perfect. Awesome. I think that's good.
Okay, great.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.